mics.
And we're trying to mute the other mics in this room. We're working on it.
Your spot, lady.
So we want to welcome everybody here, any guests that we might have. I don't see any new faces in the room. Do we have any new faces who want to say, hey, I'm new, and want to talk about themselves and what they're doing? But I think we don't have anything here, so it looks like all familiar faces. So if you're online, you're new joining us, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. If you are here and you are not a member and want to be a member, you need to see Steve Payne. Steve is here walking around. He's back behind me. Right here, Steve. If you aren't a member and you want to be a member, get a hold of Steve and pay your dues. Ron's, today his demo is going to be on carbide tools, and he's going to give away one of his Pro Series tools to a member who's either here or online. So we're going to keep track of everybody who's online and everybody who's in the room. And if you're a member, we're going to put you in a hat, and we're going to draw a name tomorrow and see who wins his Pro Tool. So if you're online and you want to be a member and you're not a member, you need to, you probably got our newsletter. In the newsletter, there's an email you can contact us, or if you got the message I sent yesterday, I put a click here to join, so you can click on that and it brings you right into our store to buy a membership. So those are the ways to become a membership if you are online and watching. If you're in the room here and attending our meetings in person, we do have some benefits. We have a sharpening station out back. We have supply table out back here for members. And we have a really good supply table today because we liquidated an estate with one of our members. So we have a ton of tools out back there that we have them all marked at half price, and many of them are like new. We also have a supply table over here, or our raffle table, I mean, so you can enjoy the raffle table. We have a sharpening station out back. We have a library out back if you want to check out a book or a DVD. So those are some of the many benefits of becoming a member in this group. Plus, we have mentorship. We have mentors who are scattered around the Grand Rapids area. So if you're in the area and you want to work with somebody one-on-one, you got a problem with something, you can get a hold of us. The members are all listed in our newsletter, phone numbers and emails. You can email and say, hey, I kind of live in your area. Can I swing by your shop? And if I haven't been able to do that lately, but typically I'll have people out to my shop and help them out with a project they're having. And we have other mentors who love to do that. I mean, it's not an inconvenience to have somebody come to our shop and us work with you on doing something. There are no secrets in this group. We're all happy to show how we did stuff and how you can do it. You just need to contact us, and we're happy to work with you. Moving on down the list, this year's Festival Arts Downtown Grand Rapids, we have some of our members have a table that they're sharing. You can still get involved with that if you would like to. Tom Penninga's in the back of the room here. If you are interested in selling something at that table, get a hold of Tom. If you want to come down and just check out the table and help out, they always appreciate that. It's a great place to go and talk to people who are really interested in your projects. It's a great way to get involved with selling your stuff. So once again, I mentioned today that Ron Campbell from AZ Carbide is going to be doing carbide tools for our demonstration today. Out front, there's a black Lightning F-150 truck right outside our door. The back of it is full of wood, and most of the wood is labeled what it is. That came from somebody else in our group who's trying to get rid of it. So if you want wood, walk out there and look what's in the back of that truck and help yourself. Just take it. So there's a lot of wood in there, and different kinds of variety, and most of it looked like it was labeled. I parked behind and saw it, so help yourself to the wood in that truck. We would like to do the Saturday, like after this meeting, we would like to do possibly on the next Saturday every month, some kind of a hands-on class. In our room up here, we have 7 lathes. All we need is a couple of mentors who would be willing to do this and get it started. And every month possibly have a project that people can do, whether it's for beginners or intermediate, but some kind of a project that we say, hey, next week we're going to all make a goblet. It's $10. Anybody who wants to do that. But we need to get a couple mentors who are willing to set this up. And where the leadership board's willing to help do it, but we need to have a couple people to spearhead that, to actually say, yeah, I'm gonna be in charge of that. And I'm sure once we got it up and running, if we said, hey, next week we're gonna do bowls, we need a couple guys to come down and show everybody how to do a bowl. You'll easily round up a couple mentors who can say, yeah, I'll be there. So, but we just need somebody to get this thing rolling. I have too much on my plate right now to do this, but it's been something that me and Tom have been talking about for 3 months. All through the pandemic, we've been wanting to do this, but we've been waiting for the pandemic to get over. So we're pretty much to the end of it. Well, maybe. But we'd like to see that get rolling. So if you're interested in working on that, let me know. Get a hold of me or any one of the leadership team here, and we'll get your name down, and we'll try to see if we can get that rolling. At the last 2 meetings, we've had people here looking to get spindles turned. And I am constantly getting people emailing me, not constantly, but at least once a month. I turned in a bid on one for somebody who's looking for somebody to make a table leg. And I think the last 2 people that actually came to this meeting looking for someone to do that, I don't know if anybody volunteered. Ralph used to be our go-to person. I seen him walking around here. Ralph's there. You were our go-to person for that, but he's kind of retired from that. We need somebody to step up and say, hey, I want to be the go-to person to do these spindles. I mean, these are for customers. They're not expecting you to do it for free. Typically if they're redoing something like that, they're probably not, they're probably fairly well off. They'll pay whatever price you tell them, because they're looking to get, like that one guy needed a spindle for his stair rail. He probably would have paid $100 for somebody to turn that for him. I would have done it, but I'm just filled up. But I did put in a bid. Another guy got a hold of me, but I get these emails on occasion, and usually I try to get them to come down to the room and see if somebody will volunteer. But somebody needs to consider filling that void on these. So when these people get a hold of us, somebody steps up and does it for them. I hate to see people walk away and say, yeah, there's a wood turners guild in Grand Rapids, but nobody would turn this for me. I think somebody should be doing that. Okay, good, thank you. So you are our go-to person? George. I know. Yeah, I know. Well, there was one person looking for 4 table legs. They're just short little legs. And he had the whole form and everything. And I'm like, that didn't look like it'd be that hard, but I don't think anybody responded to his email. John? Okay. All right. Well, frankly, if somebody came to me for 1 chair spindle, I would probably make 2 and give them 2. Here's for the next one that breaks. Pick out the one you like the most. Because I personally, for me, I think the second one goes a lot faster than the first. But anyways, that's up to you. So anyways, John, you said something. Probably if they were south of town, I know George probably would do something like that, wouldn't you? I know Bruce will. Bruce has got a duplicator, for God's sakes. Don't you, Bruce?
Yeah.
He's gone.
No, I was sitting here thinking, just send them to me, because I do a lot of architectural turnings, which is why I have the duplicator.
Okay. So if they're south of town or willing to make the trip, I'll send them to Bruce. If they're around here, I'm going to send them to John, unless somebody else shoots me their email and say, hey, I'll be doing that. So. Okay, that's Ralph. He was our spindle guy, and he did that furiously for 30, 40 years, whatever. So if you are looking for a little help on how to duplicate stuff and make spindles and stuff, Ralph will have you over to his shop. I've been to his shop. It's a great shop. He'll help you, give you some tips on how to do that kind of stuff. So. I don't think that's how that works. Okay, we're going to be moving into show and tell here. Everybody online, if you are online and you do a show and tell, we're going to write your name on a ticket and throw it into our raffle table here. We have 1 bag for a Woodcraft $10 gift certificate. Everybody else who's in the room, you will get a ticket that you can put in anything on the table. So Online, if you contribute to show and tell here, we're gonna put your name into the raffle bag here for Woodcraft certificate. So everybody get their show and tell ready, and we will get started here. Guys can line up there. We're gonna do it on the table here in front. So this is gonna be our show and tell table, and then online you'll do it at your own table. So so if you're online, raise your hand digitally. You can go to the bottom of the page. I think it says reactions, or there's 3 dots. Can you explain that, Bruce, how to do that?
It's at the bottom of your screen. You go to reactions, click on that, and you'll see a big thing. It says raise hand. And you click on that.
Okay, so guys can grab your stuff, set it up here, and stand back here, and you can talk about it, okay? Okay.
Is white oak turned and sandblasted, and you sandblast through it, and you get this effect. And I don't know how much that's showing. Let me find it. There we go. This is, I don't know, hour and a half of turning and a couple hours of sandblasting. Oh, since I got new eyes, I've really been able to put out a lot of work. These are madrone. They are turned wet. They're 50 or 60% moisture when I turn them. I then color them with madrone juice. Madrone juice is something I make, and it'll be exposed at the retreat. I've got 700 pounds of madrone coming for the retreat. This is another. This is a mindless turning. Some of you know that I've done some mindless turnings. This was a scrap from a burl cap. This went just crazy on the internet yesterday. This is a gift to Rebecca DeGroot. It grows from the Northern California to Vancouver. This stuff I'm getting is coming out of Oregon. My shipment went out today, and I should have it a week. I've got 2 of them. He sold the big round one out from under me. So we went back and negotiated, and he dug one and said, "Ron, this is yours." After he got it dug, he weighed it, and it was 5,600 pounds. I says, Greg, that's not gonna cut it. I'm in my mid-70s, buddy. So we got 2 smaller madrone burls, and they are shipped. They're on 1 crate. So you'll see more of this after the retreat.
Got just a couple pieces. Did a little piercing here. It's about, okay. It's about a little less than 1/8 of an inch thick. This piece of maple. And then the pot was some spalted maple that I got from one of our ex-members, and it's actually pretty rotten. So I got about a half a can of hardener on it in order to be able to turn it. And then the lid, of course, comes from Craft Supply. They have them back in stock finally. That's it.
So I got this from here at the last raffle, and that's what I turned out. Sorry. So this is what I got it at the last guild meeting, and this is what I turned out of it. So you can see it. Oh, sorry. So
What's the finish you got on that?
It's Yorkshire grit as the base, and then I buffed it. So it's just there'll be a buffing system.
So when you buffed it, did you use all the 2 compounds and the wax?
I used Tripoli, White Diamond, and then Carnauba for the last.
Cool, beautiful.
It came out really deep. So thank you.
I'm just a beginner, but I'm a student of Jeff Grill's. I've turned a cherry bowl from Greenwood, turned a magnolia, and these are 2 black walnuts.
You've been busy.
It's fun.
This is a piece I just kind of threw together. I had this bowl turned, and it just sort of laid around, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. It just wasn't working. I can take this damn thing off while I'm talking. Not that you can hear me any better, but anyhow. And so I had some eggs that I'd laid around, and so that laying around, and so I went, maybe if I threw those in. I've got a couple of shelves that I have things that are sort of can't quite figure out what I'm going to do with them, and usually after a couple 3 years I figure out what I'm going to do with it. So and so this last fall I thought that might be kind of fun as a nest. I could not find anything to make a nest out of, and I was doing some raking and found some roots that were that looked like they would work. So I spent half a day, gluing these things together. And when it was done, I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, part of me likes it, and part of me says, well, it's too literal. But I figure, what the hell? Just do it, And so it turned out okay. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it, but because it's very delicate. But anyhow. It was kind of fun.
Makes a nice photograph. That way
Yes.
it wears out, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. The other 2 things that I've got are questions. This I've had laying around for quite a few months. I'm looking for somebody who's got I think an 8-inch radial arm saw. I did a piece like this about 15 years ago. And I'm going to cut it off down here. This is the little sled, so I can cut it. Cut it off on an angle, and then I have to drop a radial arm saw in so that I can put this in here like this, and so it ends up being kind of a cantilevered bowl. But I can't find anybody with an 8-inch radial arm saw. Great, just what you need, Doug. Somebody else to come out and chew up half an hour of your time. Yeah. No. It is. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'll try that. And then I have one other. Basically a conversation, you only get one thing. Okay, so I sent something out a few weeks ago. I needed a big bowl for somebody, and okay. So anyhow, and I found a piece of cherry, and then once I turned it, I found that it's got
big ass inclusion in it. And I wonder if anybody, my thought was that I might be able to put a tape or something on the inside of it and pour epoxy, black epoxy into it, and do it in over 3 or 4 pours and maybe keep it together.
Coffee grounds.
Yeah,
Yeah, then it looks like
then it looks,
natural bark.
that's right, yeah.
Hey, Jeff,
but
that's a
any
feature.
experience- Obviously, you're gonna have to turn it slow, but I'm looking for somebody to say, just throw the goddamn piece of wood away.
It's a feature, Jeff.
Pardon? Well, I understand that.
Why would you want to put epoxy in it?
I just want to survive it.
The side of the wall.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. So. Well, and obviously a big bowl, you're not going to turn it very fast. Oh yeah, yep. Oh, I see. Yeah. So once you get the outside turned, then yeah, and I've done that too. So. Well, that's I'm not, I'm gonna guess that, because obviously this is still wet, yeah. I would do it and then let the whole thing dry, and I think the epoxy is gonna hold it this is my old mind thinking, whether or not, I don't know. That's obviously a piece of it, and I'm going to use a power washer to clean the inside of it, so I get really good bond. But that's, yeah, right, yeah, that's a. That's right. That's right. They're good. Like like for my memorial service, there's a pictures of the thing that killed me. I love it. I love it. It's a great idea.
Try pewas or butterflies.
Oh.
They'll have to be big butterflies.
Yeah, they would have to be big butterflies, but that's, yep. Okay, well, I got it. Well, and I kind of do too, so we'll see what comes out of it. So anyhow, thank you kindly.
To be continued. Ain't worth it. Too risky.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I finally turned something that I myself want to use. This wood was, this tiger wood blank was in the scrap bin of Woodcraft. I turned it in class with Ken 1 week ago. And the finish is General Finishes wood ball oil. It has all 3 coats. So this is what it should keep looking like, except it takes 30 days to cure. After that, I'm going to be actually eating food out of this.
So this is a work in progress. This came from a piece of wood that when I bought my lathe from Dave Phillips, he gave me this piece of wood. And it's, what's that? So it's also something that I felt like I was developing the process as I went along, because I couldn't reach into the bottom of the bowl or the vessel. So I built can you see that? Yeah. I made a nice cantilevered tool rest, and I use a monster hollowing thing. So this is able to, this is another thing I made, longer bar.
but I'm able to reach into the bowl quite far with this 20-inch bar and then get into the bottom and clean it out. So I would work a while, and then I'd run into a problem. I would make another tool, and then I'd keep working on the project, back and forth. So anyway, that's what it is.
Your cantilever, did you have like a little mini tool that you put there?
I just been using a scraper.
I mean, here.
Oh, no.
Just laid it on.
Right, I found that I have one of those, I made one, right? But it's so restrictive that I couldn't move inside the bowl. So you can't put this just anywhere you want, it's gotta go through that little hole. And so by the time that was all in there, I would just form it like this, move it back and forth. Perfect. Yeah, no problem.
First started turning bowls 2 years ago, and I saw a video on square bowls, so I gave my try at it, and turned out pretty good.
What kind of finish you got on there?
The museum finish. It's a bakuka. Not with the B, but no, not Purdue. But Baginga, that's it.
Got a chunk of wood from Woodcraft, and asked them what kind it was, and they said wood. So I don't know what it is. Yeah, but I'm in the process of making a lot of bows and stuff, and they had some spare time, so I thought I'd make a little peppermint for the wife. So the kit from Craft Supply, and I got a CA finish on it from Craft Supply. They call it pin finish. It's really nice stuff. It goes on fast, it's hard. I don't know, I like using it.
They're miniaturists, it's at work again.
That's not the biggest one, by any means. Ron Dibble put out an email, I think it was late last year, that he had some spalted maple that he wasn't gonna use, and I guess I beat everybody else to it, went away with quite a bit of it. I got about somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen bowls, some a little smaller than this, some bigger out of it. A lot of it was pretty far gone. I treated it a little delicately when I turned it. Let it dry, wire brushed it some for texture in areas that were quite far gone, and then I saturated it with thinned out epoxy, sanded it again, and put lacquer on it. They stayed together. It's been 6-8 months, and they seem to be doing quite well. It's a matter of saving something that's got some beauty, but it's pretty punky. I don't think it would survive a fall, but sitting on the table, it's fine.
Every bowl needs a story. So I got a bunch of 2x12s. They're 20 foot long. They're white pine. They were in a building as floor choice over in Holland. So last summer they tore the building down, except they left the front facade and they put the new building behind it. But anyway, I got a bunch of these pieces of 2x12, and the neat part about it is, at the end of the 2x12, these nailed it into the supporting joist over here. And so I turned the bowl without the nails in there, leave some spots for the nails, put the nails back in after I got it all turned, and then finished it. So it's kind of a unique bowl. But it's a whole story behind the bowl that's really cool. If you think about it, this bowl, or this piece of wood rather, was cut down in about 1883. So before that time, it's a 100-year-old tree. So it lived 100 years supporting all kinds of birds and critters and I don't know what all. Then it supported a floor in a building for another 100 and some years. So there's a 200-year story right there. So now I made some bowls out of it, utilizing the nails. And even these have square nail holes in it. So now how long is it gonna do? Is it gonna hold up for another 100 years as a art object? So there's a 300-year bowl story. The centerpiece, you don't look any, the center nail to chew on.
I don't know if you can see the butterflies on it. Now this is a piece of bamboo countertop, about an inch thick, and then a piece of walnut glued on the back of that. The butterflies are done with a CNC machine that I made, 3D printed, so it came out half decent. So I have two bowls here that I've decided to do different types of embellishment to make mine look a little different. This one is, I don't know if you can see the eye in there, but actually that is, I met a lady who does this, and she makes them out of duck egg shells, and she glues them all in, and then she paints them with acrylic. And so I made a deal with her that she would keep two bowls and I would keep two bowls. So now she's doing the second set, which is actually a little bigger, and we'll have two eyes on them. But she paints the eyes herself with nail polish on the back of the eye and glues them all in, and it's different anyway. We might actually ask her to come and do a demo sometime and show how she does that effect. You got that? Okay, and then this one is something else. I was impressed when Ruby had painted that bowl a couple months ago. So I met a lady who is an artist, so she paints these on the bowl for me in acrylic, and then I put polyurethane over it. She's willing to do that if any of you are interested. She's really a talented painter. So she said I paid her $15 a bowl to do it, which I thought was a good price. So she's willing to do it. Just see me if you want to do it. So, okay.
Okay, that concludes what we have in the room here. Bruce
Yes.
and David, you guys are on to spotlight and get your online people going.
So let's, Alfred, if you're ready, we'll spotlight you.
Yeah, we're ready.
There you are.
Hang on.
Mark.
Put on a good show, Al.
Oh, right. I've seen some beautiful pieces there. This is a cherry bow that I made and I pierced. I don't know how well you can see the piercing.
Looks like Ron. Looks like Ron sandblasting.
Yeah, but it's done with. I'll show you the tool that I use for that. That's all done. Actually, it's done freehand. I just do the outline only with 2 lines, top and bottom, and then I fill in the blanks. It's all done freehand. This took about maybe 4 hours to do all the carving, piercing in it. I can do it all in one shot because my eyes get tired and all that. So I do it about an hour at a time. It's about maybe a bit under 330 seconds thick. And what I use for that, I use a cheap NSK, this one. This is about $25 on eBay. You can get as many as you want, at least when I bought it, which was about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when I started doing this stuff. And it's that's the one. It's a Pan Max NSK. It's not the original because, as I said, that's only $25 versus $200-300. It turns. It doesn't turn at 400,000 RPM, but for what we do and the thickness that we do, it's good enough. What's most important is actually not the tool, is the tool bits that you use. And I use these kind of bits. And I get them from burrsforcarving.com. And they have them with a long shank and the short shank. I like the long shank. And most of them are 3/32. It's more than enough. You only need, I have a bunch of them, but you actually only need about 2 or 3 to do any kind of carving that you want. What I found out with this is, oh, by the way, there are 2 different styles you can get. You can get either this one, or else you can get it straight. I opted to get them with the slide band, and the reason is because when you're doing in confined spaces, like on the inside, it's a lot easier to hold it because you have to hold it perpendicular to the wood. If you don't hold it perpendicular to the wood here, like that, if you hold it on an angle, what happens is when you go to the inside, you're gonna go into the other piercing because you're going on an angle instead of going 90 degrees to it. So if you hold it like that, when you're piercing, that's not good. You have to make sure you're 90 degrees, both this way and that way. It looks like a bit intimidating, but really it's not. Once you get to it and you get your feeling, it's good. And what I did for the piercing, I did the setup. It's very, very simple. It's all mostly it's Harbor Freight stuff. The air comes in through here, and I can control the pressure from here. Okay, and this is right next to me, and it's connected with a hose to the carving unit itself. And so by that I can either close it completely. That's open and that's closed 90 degree. It's very simple, and you can actually see the pressure. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I was actually lucky with this that I got the piercing, but I was able to keep the bark on it too at the same time. So that's yeah.
That's really nice, Al.
Yeah. Thank you.
So do you finish that before you pierce it?
No. I found out that if you put finish and then you try and pierce it, you're gonna get a lot of smoke and smell because of the finish. You're actually burning the finish, and that's not good. It's pretty clean once the piercing, as long as you have those good sharp bits. You don't even have to sand this. It's really fine. And the inside is actually, I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. But the inside is actually, I didn't paint that black. That's from the piercing, which gives it a nice effect. It's black, because it's burning it, and as we know, that cherry burns really easy. Like on a table, so if you don't watch it, you get those marks. But no, this is finished after it's all done. That's what I have.
Nice show, Al.
Thank you.
Ruby, you ready?
Just before the meeting, people online got into a discussion about owls. So this was one I had made, and you can turn its head so he gives you different sort of attitudes, you know, whichever way you want them to look, up or down. Then I took it one step further and I made a smarter one by adding on his hat, which is really great for graduation time. And I guess what kind of started it was I wanted to let them know, and I'll let the rest of you know, that next week Record Power is going to have Theo Hara Lampu doing a demo and making an owl this way. And if you're interested in seeing that program, just go to Record Power channel and they'll do that.
Cool. Good job. Well, I see Ted finally got out of bed. He hasn't combed his hair yet, but are you ready to do your show and tell, Mr. Ted? You're muted. There you go. You're fine.
I have a red oak platter that I sandblasted, and then I stained it, or excuse me, put a dye on there, and then sanded it again.
Wow. So you dyed or stained the whole thing and then sanded it off, except for where the grain is.
Correct.
Yeah,
Came
cool.
out beautiful.
I was wondering why that red oak had such grain. Cool. If there's nobody else, I'll do mine. I don't know if I can spotlight myself or not. I can.
I got one too, Bruce.
Okay, Charlie. I got to do a share screen for mine. So this is an Easter present I made for my wife, and I'm sorry the photo is not real great, but it's a box. And I hollowed the head out a little bit just so to lighten it up a little bit. And so it's cherry wood, and the tail is zebra wood. Had to give him a little spicy tail.
It'd have been cottonwood.
Yeah. There you go. Didn't have any. So I also wanted to show this. These are, I did these in honor of Ron Campbell. These are my round and rough series. And I showed these a couple months ago. This is a unfinished version. And that's what they look like finished. Which I was just really, really happy with how the finish brought the color up. And it's a museum quality finish. So that's my show and tell. And
Those are beautiful, Bruce. Nice
thank you.
job.
I gotta find Charlie. There you are, Charlie. There you go.
Okay, I'm like Tom Penniga. I'm